All right, man. You ready?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
We don't want to go live with this, right? We'll record it so we can throw in graphics.
Yeah. All right. So talking about our latest series, Hip Hop Heads.
What I love about that is that it's great content that didn't take years, weeks, months to produce. So I think it's valuable to kind of, go behind the curtain. Behind the curtain, you see that there is a Wizard of Oz. I even have probably as much gray hairs as the Wizard of Oz. But there is a way to do this that doesn't break the bank in time or money, but you can still create really cool stuff. So we'll walk through that process of exactly why we did that with Hip Hop Heads, man.
One of the best known origins of hip hop is within the South Bronx. An up and coming DJ known as Kool Herc threw a party with a set of turntables. An astonished group of attendees would look in awe as he began displaying a technique where he would repeat musical breaks. It was at this point that the genre known as hip hop was born. The style and sound spread through the neighborhoods. There were young teens walking around with boomboxes, and people would start rhyming words to the rhythm of the music, which would later be called rapping. Block parties began to emerge, where people would have rap and dance battles against each other and electrify spectators. This became hip-hop culture and community, which grew so much that it began to get public and commercial attention. One of, if not the first rap songs of its kind was composed in 1979 by the Sugar Hill Gang, entitled Rapper's Delight. Hip-hop became a form of expression, a voice for the voiceless, and a means of communication. As the genre grew over the years, different artists, DJs, and groups started to form and use the genre in various ways to communicate. Curtis Blow created music that was more upbeat and lighthearted. Salt and Pepper were advocates for feminine power. And groups like Public Enemy and NWA used music to spread the message of police brutality, corruption, oppression, and politics. Hip-hop had grown from just being a culture in the Bronx to a worldwide movement.
Hip-Hop Heads, when you first told me about it, man, I was always excited about it because obviously I connect with hip-hop. I used to do rap and stuff like that. My first hip-hop album was by Criss Cross. I think it was a self-titled album, Criss Cross. Don't quote me on that, it might be different. But I used to play that tape all the time, like back in the day, jumping on my mum and dad's bed with my sister, Criss Cross to make it jump, to make dad, I make it. And it was them, and it was the Fresh Prince, Boom Boom Shake Shake the Room. I had that cassette tape, and I played it so much that it just like completely tangled. It tangles and you can't play it again. I ruined it.
You're bringing up memories that I totally forgot about. I love it now, man. We just got back from Andy Mineo concert, right? That's not something I traditionally would have listened to growing up if I was in high school or college, but like legit, like just such an appreciation of it. And then doing the Hip Hop Heads, all the stuff that we did is like on my playlist now, which is not something I would typically have on my personal playlist on stuff, but I've grown to love it. I too, like when I was younger, I loved rap when it first came out, but Fresh Prince, it was Parents Just Don't Understand. It was my first, right? And that was like not real rap, right? That's what people will say. I mean, though it got a great, I grew up in New Hampshire. It's 90% white, right? So it's the hip hop culture of like that was seen in New York, and our friend, Def Jeff and Jeff Fortson that grew up in Harlem, like that was non-existent. So that to them is not rap, right? So, but to us, that's like the first time I heard of rap, and I thought it was funny. It was chill. I remember my first ever CD when CDs were coming. I don't know if you had this in England, but you could something would come in the mail, and for a penny you get 12 CDs, but then you have to do a subscription for it, right? So did you ever get those things? Yeah. It was a scam, right? But your mom would find out that you did it and then call up, and then they would cancel it because the kid's under 18. Like the 12-year-old kid doing this stuff, but you just get loads of CDs and just wait for them to come in. My first ever CD was, I ordered a CD by accident because I didn't have a CD player, but it was Cypress Hill. Insane in the Brain.
It's funny when you talk about the culture and stuff like that from back in the day, man, because I remember at school there was always a kid that was walking around selling the latest album, but like not the actual version. They were burning CDs and selling them to all the kids, and I would always his name was called like Viraj, and he always had the latest albums out, and he used to have the latest DMX, the latest Tupac compilation or whatever. You used to walk around with the stuff in your pocket thinking, yo man, I got the latest thing or whatever. I just like saved £10. Yeah man, it was like it was a whole movement back in school, to the point where me and my best friend were inspired to put on our own shows and start making our own songs and rapping and stuff like that. I was influenced by Snoop Dogg, Tupac, and mostly DMX. My first ever song that I made was called Known as Ash, and it was to the beat of Thong Song by Cisco. The most random R&B song, because
sing it.
Because back in the back
I'll
in the
do
day,
I'll do the beat for you. I'll be your beatbox guy.
Back in the day, when you bought a single from the music shop in England, it's called HMV, His Master's Voice. And then the single would have the radio edit, it would have a remix, and they would always have an instrumental. So at the point when I was first starting to get in rap, the Thong Song had just came out. I was like, I love the Thong Song, let me just make my own version to it.
It's cool, man, because not to get philosophical with the stuff, but you got me thinking. I stopped listening to any hip hop purposely, it just wasn't my scene, because the kids that were listening to it in the place that I grew up, I always thought they were like posers or so just didn't identify that stuff, and I kind of felt like I would be a poser on listening to some of that stuff, or at least the kids that were listening to it. Look, hip hop is a culture. I have such an appreciation for cultures, right? So and cultures don't mean necessarily just race. It's like a period where you grew up, and there's culture and community to a lot of different things. So if you ever talk to Jeff about it, man, it's like legit. It's just the way he talks about how where they grew up in New York. Like if you're a bunch of dudes like battle rapping or doing rap and stuff like that, like parties were shut down or they were told to leave, right? So it was kind of illegal. The kids that I grew up with, and their parents are listening to the freaking Moody Blues or something, and they were doing that too until they got in and started trying to fit into their little crowd. And the kids that liked it just wasn't my crowd. So I just thought they were, they wore their baggy pants and all that stuff. It took me a while to turn my backwards hat around just because I thought it was kind of poser-ish.
Yeah, now you're all in it, man.
Now that's what I do.
All about the backwards cap.
Yep, I'm all about hip hop now, which is funny. But it's tough. It's tough to do it because, when you like music or you like lyrics, whether you're in the shower or alone or something like that, or you just busted out probably twice already here since we're chatting, you want to be able to sing the lyrics, right? So there's a lot of lyrics that you don't want to be saying for swears, but also hip hop culture type stuff, like N-word type, you don't want to be saying that stuff, right? So but it's part of the music, and it's like, what fun is music if you can't be singing it and stuff like that? So it's always been this weird thing for me anyway, and certainly playing it in the car, you want your kids to hear this cool type of music, but
Hip hop is one of the most dominant genres in the world, and with so many artists taking stage, what separates one from the other? What makes a great hip hop artist? For the most part, the answer is down to opinion depending on one's preference and metrics. So let's dig a little deeper here and break down those metrics: lyricism and flow, delivery, and storytelling. This can mean more than one thing. Firstly, what a rapper actually says. This could be something outlandish or even hard-hitting and true. Or secondly, the structure in which they are said. A rapper may say something in a particular way by using complex rhyme schemes over the instrumental. Delivery is everything. Great lyricism and flow won't translate through poor delivery. Again, this can mean more than one thing. It can mean the way in which the artist rides the beat with their lyrics, directly on beat, slightly off beat, or even bouncing between both throughout the bars. It can mean emotion and which particular one the artist chooses to rap with, pronunciation of words and emphasis on particular lyrics. It's a form of expression that is vital for the end listener to connect with the artist and their music. Rappers with great delivery are such artists as Tupac Shakur, Kanye West, and DMX. This is one of the best weapons a lyricist can possess in their hip-hop arsenal: the ability to tell a story with your words and capture the imagination of the listener by creating motion pictures in their heads. A great example of an amazing storyteller is rapper Slick Rick. in particular his song Children's Story. The song is prefaced with artists posing as his children, asking him to tell them a bedtime story, and from the moment he begins rapping, he takes us down a detailed account of a young man who took the wrong path in life. Along with his great storytelling, he displays acrobatic lyrical ability through his lyricism and flow, which all work in conjunction to deliver what is now regarded as a hip-hop classic.
Let's get into it. So our first video was Notorious B.I.G. Juicy.
You know, again, I grew up in that era, and I wasn't really listening to hip hop back then, but I know it. I know those words, right? So that tells you that it transcended more than just hip hop culture, rap culture. That and I know people love that song. So that's where it starts. And I just like stuff that is like that gets you amped up or gets you like just hyped up.
With Biggie, that song in particular, Juicy. When it comes to, because you said, you know, amped and hyped up, I would have lean more towards Hypnotized, but that's my own kind of thing because that's my favorite song from him. That's a dance tune as well. But with Juicy, as soon as that song comes on, everybody, people that even look like they don't probably listen to hip hop, know those first words. Like, it was all a dream and the whole damn verse. You know what I mean? So we had to choose a level of, you know, a sick beat, upbeat song with that level of familiarity as well. But the thing I love with Biggie is the fact that Biggie is one of the few rappers in existence that is able to paint pictures with words. So when it comes to production, Gibbon I can imagine he had a really easy time.
Exactly, like you said, he paints the picture and makes our job a lot easier. Where some of the other ones that we did later, it's not necessarily like that, so it's open to interpretation of what we're trying to do. But I also liked, you know, there were things that I didn't know. I don't know all the lyrics and that stuff, but Marley, what is it, Mr. Molly Mall?
There was a few in there. Peace to Ron G, Brucey B, Kid Capri, Funk Master Flex, Love Bug Starsky. I never knew who Love Bug Starsky was. Right. I thought it was just whatever. There we go.
So it's exactly that. So when we got that, and you could see them in there, I love that too because it's a next level. Even like, so it's perfect, right? So you are a fan of that song, you know that song, you know those lyrics by heart, and you didn't know what specifically that was. So we have a visual of those dudes in there doing their thing with it, so it like kind of brings them back in there. So it's like this multifaceted, you know, connection of really cool things. And the people that do get it and do know these people, they're going to connect with it even more. So I think we did real well with that one, man. I'm glad that was the first one. It was hard to live up to that one after that was the first one out, but we did good, I think.
So who was next? ODB from the Wu-Tang. I don't know about you, but when we first named him as a person to do, the first song that came to mind was Shimmy Shimmy Ya. I don't know a lot of his stuff, and I know he's heavily associated with Wu-Tang, but to give him the respect and, you know, pay respect to him as an artist, we had to do something that was his own and a solo song. We couldn't have him, you know, featuring on the back of another artist with Mariah Carey or whoever. So we had to give him his respect. But Shimmy Shimmy Ya, I think that's the most upbeat song I know from him, to be honest. Shimmy Shimmy Ya, Shimmy, give me the mic so I can take it away.
Yeah. I love that hype. Love that song. That was natural when you're the one who picked the song for these things, so it was perfect. I love that one. That is one of my favorite ones for sure. But yeah, you don't want him when he's just doing the backup vocals for, you know, the Ghetto Superstar or anything like that, which is what he's probably most known for mainstream, or at least where I got him.
Literally, that was the first time I had seen or heard of ODB was from Ghetto Superstar. I wasn't heavily into Wu-Tang back then.
Wyclif's got a funny story because Wyclef put him on that single.
Apparently, he walked into the wrong studio.
I didn't hear that. I'm sure there's a lot of crazy stories. That's why I love it. We got to do some hip hop stories of stuff. But he's got a story about OEB where when they didn't really know each other, but like the Fugees had a band and the Wu-Tang Clan were coming around and they were doing something. I don't know where it was. You have to watch the show and do it better justice or YouTube it. But ODB came in and like basically stole the band from like Get Out Fugees and like took it from the Wu-Tang Clan. So then Wyclef reminded him, like, you know, he's chill, man, he's cool. he's a peaceful dude, unless he doesn't have to be type stuff, right? But he was chill about it. It's like, okay, all right. And then later on, when he put him on that record, he brought it up and you reminded him, and he's like, oh man, I don't even know what was going on. Like, he's like, it's pretty funny. Like, you remember that time he kicked us out of our trailer or van or something. But yeah, man, that's I love that one. I love that one, that ODB one.
So next, Tupac Shakur. Going back to what we were saying earlier, we don't want to be political. We don't want to be too racy. We don't want to be too gangster and thug. And the thing is with Tupac's music is that he embodies all of the above. Because he's like the son of a Black Panther. He comes from a long line of Black Panthers and, Black activists. So his music is very much tell the truth, build up communities, revolutionary type stuff. So we had to pick a song that wasn't too much of that because it's hard. But I kind of went with Tupac Changes because, again, it was more commercial as far as Tupac. And in my opinion, it wasn't too much of the race stuff. So I picked the first verse of that. I think you didn't know which verse I picked. Maybe you thought I picked the second one because it.
Yeah. How's the second verse go?
I see no changes. All I see is racist faces. Hate makes disgrace. Yeah.
So I was like in 10th grade when that came out, because I remember this in 10th grade of this kid singing that song, and like, you got to listen to this stuff. It's amazing. So yeah, that's great. I mean, it's not like we're not anti-political. Everybody's got their opinions and all that stuff. It's just, I just don't want to be the outward facing thing and of stuff. I just don't want to be polarizing stuff out there. That's all. If you don't make a stand, you're making a stand. But if you put this in there, you must be making a stand. And like, it's like, I just want to bring back cool beats and cool vibes and get it to a different place. So that's all. But
yeah, you're damned if you're doing, you're damned if you don't sometimes, isn't it? It's just
right.
I mean, we definitely would have done a disservice if we didn't include like a titan like him in it. Busta Rhymes. Busta Rhymes, yeah.
My favorite one.
Busta Rhymes is your favorite one?
Mm-hmm.
Busta Rhymes, like, he's one of the most animated rappers on the planet, for sure. Like, he's known for the whole fisheye lens, animated in your face, like, rah, 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 like a Dungeon Dragon, but
right.
You know what I mean? The flip mode squad soldier. I think besides Busta Rhymes, the most animated rappers are probably Eminem and, I don't know, Ludacris, potentially.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I think one of them, Ludacris, would have been a wicked one to do, actually, with his like big fist or whatever. Mm-hmm. The song we chose for it was Dangerous. And it's funny because when we first talked about Busta Rhymes, my head gravitated towards Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See. Purely for the fact because the video is, have you seen the video? Are you familiar?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's based on Eddie Murphy's film Coming to America. It's completely like an African kind of theme. And I thought it would be cool. First of all, I love the beat. That's first of all. Second of all, it would have been cool to have some kind of African visuals in there mixed in with what he's talking about and the fisheye lens and things like that. It could be really cool, with the colors and the, vision of tribal
Season
culture.
Season 2, man.
There you go, man. But yeah, Dangerous is just as good, like a brilliant song. And what's cool about that is the fact that he got it from an ad that was a campaign to let kids know about not taking drugs and too much of this is dangerous and stuff like that.
And it's funny how we both knew that too.
Yeah.
I didn't know the particulars. I thought it was like a Sesame Street song, but I knew I could hear it in my head and stuff like that. But which is cool, man. That's what, it's a cool book. Steal like an artist, but it's not really saying like steal shit. It's just basically like everybody is getting inspiration. The great artists are getting inspiration from others and connecting dots and stuff like that. So like
no one's reinventing the wheel,
right? And he did that. Like, we're just connecting two things. Like, we connected the visual style that we did of live action and filters, and then our animated heads, and we kind of merged them together, and that's our own. No one's ever done the stuff that we did like the way we did it. So but even him, like, he heard this PSA, a public service announcement, that was trying to get kids to be careful about prescription pills and not eat them, and their little Muppets that are singing or puppets that are singing his chorus. It's super creepy. But
yeah, Busta Rhymes was the rapper that everyone tried to rap as fast as, but no one could. As soon as his song, especially Break Your Neck or Give Me Some More, like two of his fastest songs, everyone in the school disco, the school dance would go into a circle. All the guys that rapped, all the guys that thought they could rap, and all the guys that thought they were cool would be like, but no one could do it. But everyone would look around and pretend they could do it, but knowing they couldn't. So Busta Rhymes was that. like the main fast rapper back in the day. Now there's a bunch of them.
Busta Rhymes one, I think that was the first one that popped in my head that we should do, just because of his flow and all that stuff.
And his whole presence and stage presence is just pure. He's animation personified. All right, who's next? DMX. DMX, Darkman X. This was obviously...
Is that what it stands for?
Darkman X, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, this is a biased one, man, because DMX is my guy, and obviously recently passed away. So we couldn't do this without him. Like, I wouldn't have allowed it. The song of choice definitely had to be Party Up, with the whole theme of upbeat, hype vibe. That's his most hype song, and one of the most hype hip-hop songs in history. DMX, I'm not sure if you know, like, he single-handedly pretty much saved Def Jam from collapse. Like, a lot of Def Jam artists just weren't performing good or making good music and not putting stuff out there to pretty much save the company. And DMX came out with his, growl, gritty kind of style and pretty much single-handedly saved Def Jam.
It's a great song, man. It's a great song. Look, there's songs that again, I'm a perfect case study of people that, like, if I heard it, it's because it hit mainstream and was great. And obviously at that point, we grew up in an era where rap was not around mainstream, and then became mainstream pretty rapidly and stuff like that. So 100%, I want to be able to connect it with a lot of people and that stuff. And I totally remember that song playing at high school parties and things like that. Very cool song.
My very first, that was my very first CD that my boy Viraj in school burnt for me. And then there was X and It's Dark and Hell is Hot. Back in the day when I had a CD Walkman, walk into town and then back home, his albums would always be playing on my CD Walkman, like all the time. So DMX is just basically my childhood personified, use that word again.
Creating new stuff is different, and getting people's attention on new stuff is hard, but the moment you hear the opening of that song, people know what it is, and that connects, like, on an emotional level to a lot of people, certainly like on a deep mental level on a lot of points. So it we're already winning the game of trying to get people's attention if they have something that's stuck in their head. For if I never did animation or done any of this stuff, but I just randomly see parents just understand new types of content that comes out, like I never would have thought of that song for years, but then seeing it would have brought me back instantly to that childhood of me singing it to my grandmother, like, verbatim, and I would have more than likely listened and watched that whole dang thing. So I think that's one of the things that we were doing too, is finding these songs that connected already, and try to put them out there to reconnect.
And then, last but not least, Biz Markie. Again, a recent passing. Definitely very influential in hip hop. Known a lot for not only his rapping, but his beatboxing abilities. Back then, it was Biz Markie. Dougie Fresh did some beatboxing as well. Rahzel did some beatboxing, but I don't think he was back in that era. I think it's more new school than anything, or maybe mid school, if that makes sense. But I think it was your idea to specifically do Just a Friend. Why did you choose that one?
We did Busta Rhymes, right? So we're not doing just dead rappers type of stuff, but there is a soft spot of people that can't produce music and have really great stuff to put out there. That's one of it, and that is one that's recognizable, that people sing and all that stuff. Yeah, it also shows the scope of the amount of hip hop that I know from back in that era. But that's definitely an iconic song, right? So we're trying to find iconic songs that get you grooving and get you singing, or at least you recognize it at the very least.
Which one did perform the best? Is performing the best?
How are we going to measure the performance? Do you want to measure performance?
Just views. Let's start on Instagram for now.
Measuring it for views will work for this one, because we put them primarily out on TikTok, Triller, YouTube Shorts, and Instagram Reels, which you can use YouTube as a metric, right, or views as a metric for that stuff, because the algorithms in TikTok, as it shows it shows your content to some people, and then on the For You page, and then if a certain number of them respond well to that, it shows to another handful of people. So you can use views as a metric. Overall, Triller is it's not a huge social platform, but overall, the Busta Rhymes, we have the number one Busta Rhymes content on Triller right now, which So I think there was, it's only 12,000 views, but it's a different type of platform. But that got 12,000 views off of that, where a lot of artists are just getting 1,000 views and 2,000 views and things like that. So, but yeah, overall, if we count views, it's the Busta Rhymes one. The changes, if we count like shares, saves, Instagram saves or shares, Tupac changes definitely beat everybody out hands down pretty much. What we're doing too, because there's obviously copyright issues and things like that. What we've done is TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, they allow you to use a part of the music, and which is great for discoverability and all those types of things, right? So we upload our video with no sound on it, and then let it play out on the Reels. We just put music to it on the back end, which allows us to put it out there and get some eyes on it.